Hi, I just said Pui, and you're watching the View Review.
Thank you, Yasiel Puig. What's going on? The Blue Review has to come back when there's something big that goes down. Parker Bell, Greg Bergman, we are going to get you talking about all the Kyle stuff, Tucker stuff that's going on around there. It just happened again, Parker. It just keeps on happening no matter what, consistently over and over and over again. When the Dodgers want something, they just go out and get it.
Infinity Stones, all the whole cruxes, every sort of collectible, fiction thing you could think of. The Dodgers are doing just that. The Death Star, throw out all the pop culture references. Literally, the Dodgers look around the league and say, you want the best closer? Too bad, they're ours. You want the best outfielder? Too bad, they're ours. And here we are, Greg, back to backs looking more and more likely. Obviously, before we break down a lot of this contract stuff, just the base level reaction is that Dodgers do not give a bleep right now.
Do not give a bleep. They don't care about your salary caps. They're not going to care about your lockouts or your strikes or whatever you want to call it. They do not care right now because, look, we were just talking about it while we were getting coffee, and there's a Shohei window, right? There's a Shohei window if he's going to go out, your best player is going to go out, and he's going to say, hey, I'm going to sign with you because I want to win championships. I will sign for $70 million. You're going to give me $700 million, but I'm not going to take it all at once. I'm going to take $2 million a year so that you get as much money extra as you possibly can get so we can go win some championships. Well, he's 2 for 2. Did you think after the second one they're just going to be like, oh, you know what? Let everybody else go wherever they want. We're just going to sit back. We're going to get Edwin Diaz. We'll get our closer, but everybody else go do what they want. No, they had said, we have a problem in the outfield. Let's go get the number one free agent in the outfield and in Kyle Tucker. It's just amazing how this organization works, how they're smarter than everybody else, how they just understand what it is to win championships over and over and over again. And I love it so very much.
It is actively fun to root for because you know that everybody else at this moment is directing their anger in the wrong place, obviously at the Dodgers. But the bottom line is, and the real conversation is that you got to redirect for other fans and other just markets in general. You got to redirect your anger towards your team. This has been brewing practically for a while now. The Dodgers have said essentially what they're going to do, and they're going to do anything to win. And here they are now doing it, Greg. I mean, you look back, obviously, to 2017 with the cheating scandal. Shout out to Anthony Vitrato, our guy who joins us every now and then on the episodes. He put out a tweet talking about you had the 2017 cheating scandal. You had the 2020 noise about the Mickey Mouse ring. All this, chatter and the monikers of just like chokers being thrown around the Dodgers organization. They heard all that. And now you got to face the wrath of what the real Dodgers are. And that is a powerhouse like we've never seen before.
Yeah, it's basically what he's saying is it's your fault. It's your fault that the Dodgers are this way. You did this over and over again, calling the Mickey Mouse thing, having all those scandals, everything else. You made this happen. I don't know how many times the Dodgers were talked about as like the Braves, the 90s Braves, get there over and over again, but not win anything. So they go out there and they win 3 times in 5 years. Okay, and they're on the verge of winning a third time in a row. Like we obviously have to go through a season, but either way, just so we can get it all out there, Kyle Tucker, obviously he signed for 4 years, $240 million. $30 million of that is deferred. He has opt-outs after the second and third year. These are just things that are wild to me because the Mets were willing to go, I think it was $220 million for 4 years with no deferrals. So he's going to get all of his money. And I don't know what the opt-outs were in that deal. And I think from what I saw, the Blue Jays were willing to go to 10 years. But I also saw different reports that it was only for $300 million, which that wasn't going to happen. By doing it this way, you're saying the Dodgers are – I'm going to go there, and maybe I only go there for 2 years and get another bite at the apple, or I can just say, hey, I'll take that 2 years, $120 million that is on the table for me. Or you can just leave. If you're bad, they can be like, hey, let's just part ways. It's as much as it's a 4-year deal, it's a 2-year deal. And it's a 2-year prove it deal for him at 29 years old. He's still, if he balls out, he can get another big giant deal somewhere else or with the Dodgers after all this. There's so many things that the Dodgers are doing here that made it so it's like, hey, just come here and win a couple championships and we'll go from there. It's just so nice to see. And really, all those other fan bases, talk to your owners, man.
Please, but put on paper bags. Do what you got to do, because it is possible around most of the league. I will say there are a few outliers where it's like, okay, well, you're going to have to win with a ragtag group that you got. But it is possible around the league. You looked at some of the other high payrolls in the last few years, and there's teams who the Dodgers have seen in the playoffs. So it can happen, but that's just what it is. The Dodgers are doing things that only the Dodgers are doing right now. So the fact that they bolster up what was probably their biggest weakness, kind of looking at this more granularly, the Dodgers' weakness, of course, was an outfield with Pages, Kike, and Teoscar. So you add Kyle Tucker, who's an upgrade there, obviously. And if he's healthy, this is a win-win. It's unfathomable how much of a win-win this is. He's a 5-tool player when healthy. He's absolutely elite on both sides. That leaves so much optionality for the Dodgers, Greg. I mean, a lot. I think Sedano and Cap themselves were talking to Tommy shortly after the offseason about Tommy Edman. That is, where do you want to play? Do you see yourself as like a center fielder? And he said, if he's healthy, they'll put me wherever they got to put me. This team is just so deep now at this point with Kyle Tucker. Hello, here we go again.
Here we go again. And look, I have been very adamant on the radio. I've said it on every single show. I've said it on Sedano and Cap. I say it over and over again on Mason and Ireland in the Boys in Blue report that I do with them every week. And with Travis all the time. I did not want Kyle Tucker. Mm-hmm. He was a guy that I was like, he had a horrific second half of the year. I think he batted somewhere around like 180 in September. It was horrific. He had injuries. He was injured the year before. He was injured last year and missed time. And when he did get injured, he then completely fell off into a first half of the year. Amazing. Second half of the year was just terrible. He was the leader of that Cubs team last year until he got injured and just completely fell off. So, and also I've heard from different sources that he's not great in the locker room. And this is something that I said, I can't get away from it. Mm-hmm. The only way that I ever was like, yeah, let's do it, was a low year, high AAV, average annual value. And that's exactly what they got. They got him on a low year, high AAV, and with opt-outs that he can leave after it. So you're not really on the hook for all of that, depending on how this goes. You may have to pay all of it. You may not. But this is – no matter what, they went out and they got the number one free agent in all of baseball right now. The guy that everybody wanted, the guy that the Toronto Blue Jays were going hard after, the guy that the Mets were going hard after. All of those things, and the Dodgers just say, no. He's coming here because we have a winning culture. And all he has to do is just come in, play, probably from like the 6th spot in the lineup, which is also wild to be able to say, and make sure that your outfield defense is completely shored up and moving Teo to the left, which we screamed about all last year. It makes sense in so many different ways.
Yeah, on that part specifically, and shout out to Laura in the chat. She says Parker can't stop smiling. That's true.
You shouldn't be.
Just covering this team and being in this market when this is happening, it's extremely exciting for a young man like myself. And listen, I get to go to Dodger Stadium next year and see a potential lineup of, I mean, just reading it out loud sounds ridiculous in no particular order, but just the names and MVP caliber names that you see. Freaking Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Kyle Tucker, keep going all the way down the line. Max Muncy, Will Smith, of course, always has like MVP level first half of the seasons. This is absolutely one of the best teams I've ever seen rolled out. And I don't remember Yankees fans and people really back in the day, Steinbrenner running the charge, talking about all this parity and balance in the league like they are now with the Dodgers. And maybe that's the Shohei Ohtani effect. But I mean, Greg, when you look at this team and the what is it, 2.1 billion I think guaranteed they're going to have on the
a lot of money.
After signing Tucker, you look at this and I still think it's great for the league. Having a Dodgers dominance and people trying to get after them, bite their ankles, take them out is great for the league, I believe.
I completely agree with you. And the Yankees, there was a lot of talk about the parity. They were the evil
Right.
empire winning year. They had everybody. They had the highest payroll. They had all the different things. It wasn't to this level. There wasn't these with all the deferrals and all the things that the Dodgers do that's so different than everything else. But that parity that was in the league back then, it was the Yankees, and that was it. They just ran away with it every single year, over and over and over again, until the Diamondbacks took them out. But that was, or well, it was Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it the Marlins? I don't know. I'm losing my mind here. It's early in the morning. But either way, that whole time was very much, I hate the Yankees. Hate the Yankees. It's good for baseball. You need a villain in baseball. You need a villain in all sports. The team that there's always got to be that team that you are just going after. In football, it was the Chiefs year in and year out. They were going. It used to be the Patriots. You always have to have that villain team that everybody's trying to strive to get after, because then that involves all your other fan bases that get there. Brewers fans thought they had it won last year. It's like, oh, we had the best team in baseball. We just, we hit the right way. We do it all the right way. And the Dodgers said, no, it's playoff time. This is where we come to play. And then there's Toronto tried to kind of match what the Dodgers were doing, spent a lot of money and had them by inches in the World Series. But you need to finish them off, and they didn't. So it's amazing for baseball to have these kind of things. And I know it gets people talking about it. No matter what, that's why I always thought that the Dodgers winning last year back-to-back was going to be better for the game, because the Blue Jays, they win. It's like, okay, cool. Blue Jays won, and there's no conversation around it anymore. The Dodgers win, and it's, oh, my God, we got to deal with this again. And then signing Kyle Tucker, this is it. He's ruining baseball. All those different conversations. It keeps the conversation going in baseball.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's just really no other way to put it outside of this season's going to be so fun to watch. But, while we're kind of hitting the second half here on Kyle Tucker specifically, Greg, and just kind of his game, I know that, we saw a second half that was a little iffy. We saw, I think it was a
iffy. It's terrible.
Shin fracture, I know, is what put him out for about 3 months. I would say, and I'd wager that if we look at like his last 3 years at least, there's still a lot of good things to be looking forward to in terms of his range in the outfield was not as decent as it was as obviously his time with the Astros, but the arm strength still above average. And I think that's up to par with a Dodgers team. You might not have the range, but you have great arm strength. And that actually has worked out for the Dodgers in the past. They've had a lot of outfield assists. Pages is a similar player, but the bat, I think that's what we want to look at. And that's what's important when we look here. 5-tool we mentioned earlier in this episode, but 73 RBIs and even 25 stolen bases, Greg. I mean, how do you expect this Tucker signing to really affect the lineup? I know you said you might even see him in the 6th spot, but really early predictions.
I was just putting out a place, but
right,
early predictions. I think he goes in there and he just is calm. I mean, all those the worries about the bad locker room and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, if there's a team that he can go to that he's going to just kind of like fall in line with, the Dodgers are that team that he could just fall in line with. You have so much leadership at the top in Mookie, Freddie, Shohei, all the guys that are in there, or Muncy, who has been there for a long time, and just to play the right way, you kind of got to fall in line just a little bit to be a part of all that. So all he has to do is, he's not the guy. Chicago, he was supposed to be the guy. If he goes to the Mets, he's not the guy, but he's right there at the top. He has so many dudes in front of him that it was like, I can just play baseball and just do the best that I possibly can. Now, I don't think his bat is amazing by any means. I don't think his arm it's like out of this world by any means. Is $60 million the right amount of money for him? Absolutely not. He's not a $60 million player. But to do it for this short amount of time, the low years, it's the right thing to do. His bat, I think he's going to be something that while 5-tool, it's kind of like mid 5-tool. He's going to get you 25 to 30 home runs, which is great. He's going to get you 85 to 100 RBIs. Fantastic. That is absolutely what you need. He'll steal some bases. He's fast. What it does is it shores up your defense. So if you want to talk about the bat, really, I don't expect much from him. If he gets, which is a really good numbers, if he gets you 30 and 100, huge, great numbers, that's exactly what you want. It'll make sure that lineup just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Put him in the 5 hole, put him in the 6, or wherever it happens to be. He just fits there.
No, he really does, and that's what the Dodgers are doing here. Is that they're just we're gonna beating the drum over and over again here. He was the gem of the offseason.
Sure
And the
was.
Dodgers just look around the league and say, if this is the prettiest gem, we're going after it. But I think what we're seeing with him, I mean, going into the 2025 season, you saw reports about how he's leaner, a little more athletic than some of the other times they've seen him, but still has big power. I would like to hope that you mentioned this in terms of like the locker room stuff. I'd say on the field as well. Any team that's in any organization that's kind of going to boost your level of play, I'd say again, the Dodgers is the answer. So we still might have not even seen the best of Tucker. You might see something unlocked in him that the Dodgers can find that other organizations weren't able to find. And that goes with injured players as well, like people who have come from off years over to the Dodgers and they end up, turning things around. But outside of this, Greg, I mean, I know we can get into a lot of this and there's going to be a lot of chatter on Sedano and Cap, but is there anything specific that you kind of want to get into before we send it off?
No, I'm just looking at the chat a little bit here and just reading some of the comments. We love the fact that you guys are with us here at 6:30 in the morning again, by the way. And we will be back. We're going to be back full time, just probably in the middle of spring training, late February probably is about, I think, when we're going to start, maybe beginning of March, whatever happens to be. But I'm just looking at a couple of things here. And so Roy Estrada, Tucker will bat fourth or fifth. Dodgers not messing with Ohtani, bets Freeman. Totally agree with that. Wayne Mulholland, which is Mitch in New Jersey. Love you, Mitch. With the money he's getting, he should be a top 2 guy, Greg. You can't look at it like that. It's the way that the Dodgers work is so different. I think that's what we've been talking for the most part about, Parker, is that this is not the way that the Dodgers are working. They went and spent $60 million a year on him because that's what it took to go get him. It's not the fact that he is a $60 million a year player. It's that to take him away from the Blue Jays, to make sure that the Mets don't get him, to make sure any other team doesn't go, a mystery team doesn't go out and get him. You had to go that $60 million and then give him the opt-outs after the second and third year. So it's not about what kind of player he is. He can be that guy. He was a top 10 hitter in baseball over the last 6-7 years. So do it real fast. 6-7. Yeah. Go on. I'm disappointed that you need to go right to it. I know it should just go away in general, but that's the way that you had to go get him. He was going to go somewhere else otherwise. I think there's other things in here that I saw too. Bets need to be lower in the lineup, man. Let's see. It's going to go Ohtani, Betts, Freeman for a good portion of the year. If Betts is still, his bat is not back to being Betts like, maybe he does move, and if Tucker is hitting well, maybe they do flip something there. But for the most part, you are going to go Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, and I think Will Smith stays in that 4 spot. And then you start seeing Tucker in that 5. I think that just makes the most sense to me. And then now you have Teo and Muncy and Edman. And it's just ridiculous what's going down this line to be able to do it. That's not fair. And then you add in Edwin Diaz in the back of the bullpen. And then you add Glasnow and Ohtani pitching and Yamamoto and Sasaki and Snell. And the list goes on and on and on and on. The Dodgers are just doing what it needs to be done to win the championships, as many as possible in that Shohei window. And I love it, Parker. I'm so happy to be a part of this fan base.
It's just been amazing to watch. And I think I'll kind of end, I'll put a little cap on this conversation and my end, at least. His contract, yes, way different than what was originally predicted. I think a lot of us were talking about higher years. He could have gotten, honestly, into his 40s. The way that people are getting contracts these days, he could have got 12 years for $460, looking at a 38 million AAV. That was kind of where he was hovering around. You look at a Guerrero contract. Dodgers, they said, we don't really care because the only thing we do care about is winning. And that's what this move shows you, everybody. This is just a winning move. I mean, if you can do it and you've basically put out a structure already the last couple of years on how to do it, then here you are. And this is just the Dodgers doing what they've been doing the last couple of years. Get rid of all those nicknames, chokers, blah, 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 22, 23, all those years. Doesn't matter anymore because what are the Dodgers now? Back-to-back champs and on their way to being back-to-back-to-back.
To be a three-peat. So the last thing that I'll say, and I'm going to enjoy this. all you Dodger fans in the chat, Dodger fans just in general, enjoy this. This is not something that comes around very often, and it will come away. And we will have to pay up for all of this. The Dodgers will, and they will go through slumps at times at some point in time. Enjoy this while it's happening right now. And I think that's the way that Mark Walter and Andrew Friedman think about this is we're going to do everything we can right now and have our fans enjoy this as long as possible. The piper has to get paid at some point, and it's going to happen. But right now, just enjoy the dominance over as much as humanly possible. And then you kind of appreciate when on the downtimes. But they're going to be up, up, up constantly. I'm not going to do it, Parker. I felt like it was rude to do. But they're right there at the top. Enjoy this. It's been great. Thank you for being a part of the Blue Review once again. We will be back in probably about a month or so, month and a half or so. But if another move happens, we're going to come back here and be here at 6:30. Anytime a big Dodger thing happens, we will be back here at 6:30 right before Sedano Cap. So be ready. Lasers are for winners. Winners got Kyle Tucker. We'll see you next time. We're out of here. Sedano Cap next.
Peace.
Peace.
Ba-da-ba-ba.